Okay, hi everyone, I'm back again. I'm Kumbi Tinoyer, so thank you for joining us. I'm Kumbi, the founder of Urban Geeks, the news platform focused on tech and innovation, and I'm excited to be moderating today's panel discussion, the power of AI to transform industries. Since there's so many of you, I think this time around I'm going to get you all to do a very quick intro of yourselves, just who you are, your company, and a line on what your company does.
Absolutely, I can start. So my name is Agam Upadhyay. I'm a Chief Technology Officer at GSK. We are one of the largest biopharma company, and our purpose is to unite science, technology, and talent to get our disease together and impact positively billions of lives.
Abdulaziz Al-Ali. I am faculty in the College of Engineering, Qatar University, and right now I'm being seconded to move to the ministry to lead a center that's a country-level center affiliated with the World Economic Forum, responsible for adoption of 4IR technologies.
David Fern, I'm the Global Head of Generative AI here at Cognizant. And Cognizant, for those of you who don't know, are a global systems integrator working with most of the Fortune 500 to help them drive forward innovation.
Fabrice Beaulieu, I'm with Reckitt. I'm Chief Marketing, Sustainability and Corporate Affairs Officer. I'm also the Senior Business Sponsor for the Generative AI-led transformation of the company.
Okay, thank you everyone. So this is just first high-level question. We all know that AI is revolutionizing the way we live, work, and play. I'd love to hear, at least from one or two of you, some of your thoughts on how AI is disrupting and reshaping industries. Whoever wants to kick off.
I can kick off.
Yeah.
So look, we work in biopharma industry, and if you think of it, we exist to serve our patients and make their lives better. And one thing which is required is speed. How can we really do target identification? How can we really find the next molecule to cure the next disease and bring to the market faster? Provide the better supply and faster supply, adequate supply to all our patients. And what is happening is the tech, and especially the AI piece of it, is impacting. So using the data, using artificial intelligence to then find the target faster, build the R&D pipeline faster and broader and bigger, and then bring the medicines. So it is truly transformative. I think it's game-changing for us. So looking forward to the next phase for this one.
Wonderful.
So at Cognizant, we have a very fortunate position where we get to see a very wide range of not just verticals and industries, but also regions and how they are all kind of adopting this technology. And one of the kind of like recurring trends we find is there's one of three things that are happening from successful AI deployments. It's either highly deflationary, it's causing the cost of goods and services to go down for the cost of production. It's accelerating, so we're seeing goods and services be produced quicker, or it's diversifying. So it's actually able to, for organizations to turn around and go, actually, we're going to go and attack a completely new market vertical. We're going to go and attack a completely new region, whereas previously they might have been resource constrained to achieve that.
Wonderful. Just feeding into what you both just said, what subsectors, because we all know AI is a huge, what subsectors of AI are really hot right now or have the most potential for advancement? Okay, Abdul?
I think it's been said maybe plenty of times in earlier sessions today that Gen AI is coming, and then I think it's the closest thing to AGI. I think it's incredible how we moved from having a certain problem, trying to solve it, having the labeled data, which was very, laborious to do it. And then moving to having a solution and looking for problems. So we have these now large language models, and we're trying to find what it cannot do. So I think this is fascinating that now we're looking at it entirely a different way. We have a solution, almost a generic solution, and we're trying to find, where are the places we can apply it.
So at Reckitt, we are in the consumer goods space. We sell 30 million products every day, mostly in hygiene and consumer health. You use or know our brands, Durex, Nurofen, Finish, Airwick, to quote but a few. And in a company like that, analytical AI, machine learning, has already permeated the enterprise. We use it across more than 40 capabilities. And we believe that makes us ready for the next inflection point, that is generative AI, and all the opportunities of productivity and growth that will come with it.
Wonderful, thank you. So how is AI, and I want to just being used to improve efficiency and productivity in your organizational sector? Love to kick off with you.
Yeah, I will. So I think one of the advantage that what we have in GSK is that there's a lot of investment done for the foundational element. So I think the one thing very critical is that the underlying data and connected ecosystem and platform-based approach is the only thing that actually makes you ready. So what we did when the generative AI became a thing, we very quickly put together, we used the commercial large language model, LLM, we used that, and created, using a vector search, a digital assistant for all our employees. So as we speak, actually it has been rolled out to all our 80,000 employees worldwide. And what it does is it gives all our employees a capability to ask questions. There's a conversational AI aspect of it, which means they can ask questions about policy. They can ask questions about various things, how they can do it. And it also gives them access to create content, generate content, do content synthesis. Now what it's doing it based on our analysis is it adds tremendous amount of amazing user experience as an employee. Right? They feel wonderful coming to work for GSK. And second thing is it creates an amazing level of productivity. Now productivity is still, the measurement is going to be key, right? Because we all are talking about it, but outside of the code generations in some areas, it's still yet to be measured. But I can tell you, it is definitely game changing from that perspective, and we call it GG. So if you look up, I think this is our amazing marketing aspect of it. But it is now being rolled out, and we are seeing a great amount of adoption and appreciation from our employees.
Anyone else got any thoughts?
So Cognizant, we're a huge, human labor-centric organization. 360,000 associates. And Gen AI could be incredibly transformative in one of two ways to us. It either allows us to retain that ability to deliver at 360,000 people scale, but shrink our workforce down and lower our cost base significantly, or to stay at a 360,000 people size business, but look and feel like a million people business. And actually I had a conversation with our CEO a couple of months ago and said, what's the vision for Cognizant? And he's like, through the adoption of code generation tools, through tools that are going to streamline access to knowledge, access to training, access to, because we're hiring kind of 10,000 people almost every month.
Wow.
So, streamlining, recruitment from some of our technical interview skills, to be able to streamline and also to be able to bring a higher degree of consistency. One of the things we have when we build Gen AI solutions is we try to get objective subjectivity, or what's more commonly known as a single version of the truth. And when you've got 360,000 people spread across the world, having a single version of the truth is incredibly difficult. But our clients want that single version of the truth. So Gen AI can give us that single version of the truth through just having these highly aligned systems that we can use and interface with and create and idealize with.
Doing better business.
And to add to that, when you operate in the space of consumer goods, I think there are three main opportunities. I would describe them as office productivity, reinvention of domains, and new business models. What I mean by each is the following. Office productivity, think of a copilot on your email or on your PowerPoint. Domain reinvention, to your point on consistency of quality, is when a particular team can augment its output or elevate its capability through the technology. It's true of scientists, it's true of marketeers or sales executives. And new business models are opened up when the conversational power of the technology, the ability to upload digital data, helps you understand one-to-one how you can help people better to serve them better.
Okay. So AI is here, whether we like it or not, it's here. So we need to embrace it. How can businesses or even individuals actually prepare for this rapid transformation that's here now and growing very rapidly? How can we prepare? What can we do?
So I think like any technology, there is a ramp-up period for everything. So few things are very important, which we at GSK adopted. With AI comes responsibility. So, and especially for our employees, for our people, for our patients, for everybody. So one thing that we did initially, immediately when this happened, was to stood up a responsible AI governance model, which means to make sure that our policies, our accountability, what is and what it is not, and make sure that everybody who is using AI or generative AI and everybody who is a practitioner or a user go through a proper training process. So there's a compliance aspect of it, understanding aspect of it, what is allowed, what is not allowed. That's one. Second thing is digital fluency, which means every organization, because this is something cannot be adopted. You can roll out all Copilot you want, but if your employees don't know how to write a prompt, or they don't understand what it can or cannot do, and the amount of capability it has is very hard to then get the full value out of it. So which means digital fluency need to be in there. Third thing is there has to be a clear business justification in cases, which means for us, it's patience. Patience are center of it. As I said, what's driving us is that by using this technology, I'm showing the results where I can build my pipeline faster, I can lower the cost of goods, I can deliver supply much adequate manner and so forth. So those three things, creating that piece from business model, employer adoption, and capability drives the value and growth.
Wonderful.
And just building off that quickly, being absolutely crystal clear with your employees as to what AI is and isn't. I think one of the single biggest things that's killed most projects I've seen is employees pushing back. And not pushing back because it's genuinely dangerous or there really is an existential risk, but because they just don't understand that it's not going to take their job. It's going to actually help them to do their job more efficiently, might even make their job more enjoyable. But because of the lack of communication from the people building the AI to the people who are going to be using it and consuming it, you can have quite a kind of real friction in between that center point.
Yeah, I think that's the change management part. I mean, the change management has to be, which includes a communication, effective communication has to be the integral part of it. I mean, if it's not properly communicated, then it can actually misfire. One more thing, if I can add,
Absolutely.
time permits. The solid foundation of data is key. Because if you have completely disintegrated data all over the place, and if you don't know what the value of data you have, then the tougher it's going to become. So there's some investment to build a data platform, integrated platform, connected ecosystem, where you have harmonized information available to you. It's going to make job that much easier.
Okay, so I want to piggyback off what you said, just sort of mention, David. As we all know, there are concerns that AI will take over people's jobs. I'd love to hear from a couple of you on your thoughts there, because people are genuinely concerned.
If I may, I think, as my colleague said here, or my panelists here, I think AI will be replacing the mundane job, the repetitive tasks that we do every day. And I think I want to quote here an experience I had with one of my friends who worked for a big tech company. He said, we approached this startup or this company trying to propose this to them. And then he said, what we did, we asked them in a workshop to write down all the tasks that they'd hate to do or they don't like to do, and all the things that they like to do, and mark them with smiley faces, you know. And then he said, the good news is, and it was the case, he said, most of the ones that you hate to do, these are the ones that the AI will be taking over for you.
I really love that. And I suppose, so are you saying then that AI will, obviously we're talking about the more mundane jobs, will it enable people to actually be more creative and really do the, more creative, innovative work? Would you say that? Is it?
I'm happy to take this one. Creativity is key to what we do. We operate large brands, and these brands, they innovate and they communicate. And we found that generative AI can be extremely useful end-to-end for that playbook of growth. It's useful to create assets, advertising assets, not just faster, but also with a higher quality, and eventually that create better engagement. And it's also extremely useful to make sense differently of all the consumer information that we have. Think of thousands of pages of reports across 30 categories in which we play. These reports depict the way people live and use our products across tens of markets. Generative AI is extraordinarily useful to connect dots in that maze of information in new ways, help us find fresh insights, and from these fresh insights, we can find new solutions and help all the people we serve globally.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't like it when people say AI is only going to come and do the mundane.
Okay.
Because actually, to the point was just brilliantly articulated, it can help people do discovery and find new, interesting insights quicker, more effectively, which actually makes their job more enjoyable. And actually, I'd argue that AI will absolutely automate away a lot of the mundane, but it'll help you to get to the fun parts of your job quicker and in a much more kind of meaningful way than it did previously.
So more efficient.
I agree with David. I think when people say this question about is this going to impact job, and I said, yeah, positively. It's going to create a whole lot of new industry and so much new opportunity. We have so much to do. I mean, just by our industry, GSK's example, there's so much to do, and we just cannot do it unless we have things like generative AI available to us. So I say, yeah, it will impact jobs, but positively. It will create new industry, new market, more new jobs.
Wonderful. So how can we ensure AI is developed in a responsible and ethical manner? Because that's another important discussion.
I'm going to pass off to our professor here. A lot more research than any of us.
Look, I think acknowledgement that this is a critical path. It means you have to be responsible. There's so much unknown to it. As I said, we build in GSK a responsible AI governance model, which include all of head of AIs. It includes all of our technology providers within GSK internal and our legal and compliance organization, and basically put together. And look, it has a government. I mean, right now, governments are just warming up. If you think of it, if you go country by country, every country is coming up with certain laws, right? And certain laws and regulation that need to be followed. So awareness of those, having that model, having understanding of what machine learning models are being created in the organization, are they all following the strict governance or not? Are there things, think about, I think somebody was mentioning, I think David, that was you, that you can actually use this to do a better HR recruitment. But what if there is a generative AI-based bias in your model that you created? That would be a biggest failure. So having that model being reviewed by the right team that followed an exact governance model that's required is key. So it needs a very forthcoming, very intentional attempt to make sure it exists.
And that's why we specifically designed it to only do certain recruitment tasks. We still, because we're 100% human in the loop with pretty much all of our Gen AI at the moment, and all of our AI tasks largely, because in technical recruitment, kind of it's quite binary. You did or didn't get it right. You did or didn't answer that question correctly. But you're absolutely right. You cannot get away. Bias is inherent, and essentially, when you're trying to design an AI, you're either trying to minimize or maximize the biases to best align to your use case. And the problem we found is that sometimes it's just you can't bake out the bias enough to get to a point where you've got a system that isn't prone to something, so you just can't use it yet.
Yeah, and for us it become even more prominent because we run clinical trials. And you cannot have any inherent bias that can exclude or include certain demographics and so forth. So it is very critical, very important that every organization is attempting or in this journey that they take responsible AI piece very seriously, learn from each other, and establish that part.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, sorry, Fabrice.
Yeah, I think to look at this transformation as an enterprise transformation journey helps. Sometimes people think it's a tech challenge or a data challenge. It's also true. But combined, that's probably 30% of the challenge. 70% of the journey is about helping people get on the curve and embrace that change and enjoy it even. We see the same as what you experience. Everyone who has touched our new software has experienced them actually says it takes the drudgery out of the daily. So as long as one is intentional about why we use it, to the point we made, transparent about how we are going to use it in the enterprise, I think the change management journey will go well. It's going to be a leadership adventure first and foremost.
Okay.
I think
Go on.
transparency, accountability, these things all come, with implementing a solution. And maybe, inspired by, for example, the medical domain, we could always, or even the aviation domain, when developing AI models, there could be third parties that assess these models, rather than having the companies themselves or the creators be their own assessors.
Okay, I want to go back to bias. This is my background and the work that I do. Some of the work that we cover, there has been that conversation about the lack of diversity in AI and bias. So I just want us to just touch on this again. What can we do? Because the data is as good as the people that are actually putting the data in. I'd love to hear some more thoughts on that kind of conversation about bias in AI.
David, you go first now.
I'm coming back to you.
So first and foremost, anyone who says we're going to get rid of bias is lying to you, because you fundamentally can't remove bias. We're all biased in some way, shape, or form. It's about amplifying and minimizing the biases that you do and don't want, and trying to align something to that objective subjectivity. The other thing I'd say on this is, it's not answering your question directly, but safety and ethics are super subjective. And the reason I say that is because we develop models with, schools and then, banks, and they have completely different ethics and safety needs. One needs it to be safe at all costs. The other one wants it to be uber, critical thinking, very different objective functions. But then we also develop pieces of technology for military applications, which have a completely different set of safety and ethics standards as well. So I think anyone who comes and sits here and says safety and ethics is a single plane of existence, everything needs to comply to a certain level, it doesn't realize the thousands of different shades of grey that there are that go into what is safety and ethics for the specific use case you're developing.
I think it will also be useful to keep human oversight.
Absolutely.
The human in the loop, as it's called, looking at the work which has been created with the help of the machine, will be absolutely essential to not reinforce biases and over time to eliminate them.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that insight. So AI advancements are moving so fast. So what is the best way to evaluate and regulate these advancements? And another thing I'd love to hear from at least some of you is, should governments get involved in this process?
So I'll open it up. So I was in our parliament, in the UK Parliament in November, talking to a group of MPs about regulation, specifically in Gen AI and healthcare. And I must admit, it was a really refreshing conversation, albeit it's not moving forward as quickly as I'd like it to. But the reality is, I absolutely think that there is a need, but regulation has to be innovation, proactive to innovation. So it needs to be regulation that kind of helps the process of development, almost a set of benchmarks, a set of conditions under which innovation meets certain criteria, rather than criteria in which innovation is kind of squashed and made difficult and made incredibly expensive.
So I think, so if technology and science and biopharma industry advancing, which means we are going to do drug discovery, drug development, drug manufacturing, and kind of a whole pipeline from, if we are advancing but the regulations are not, it's going to create a massive problem. Because then now you're talking about that you've automated a part of it, or you advanced part of it, but the other part is still stuck in the past. So absolutely, government and regulatory industry need to be brought, and I think they are. I think what I've seen so far, what we have seen so far, that's warming up. So the industry and the advancement and the regulation has to move hand in hand. That's the only way to achieve the full benefits.
Okay. Anyone else, any thoughts on that? Okay, so where are we? I always love to sort of, speaking to the experts, where you feel we are in this journey with AI. Are we at this point really scratching the surface of where we can actually go with this industry?
Ironically, we are still scratching the surface, despite, and I say ironically, because this technology has been the fastest growing workplace technology ever adopted. Adopted, not just envisioned, not just thought about and discussed, but adopted, deployed, and made useful. But yeah, we're absolutely just scratching the surface. It's interesting, you listen to OpenAI and people like that, and they all say, we are working with the stupidest models we'll ever work with. And if you believe that, if you honestly kind of see that as true, then we've got so much more to come.
Wow. Wow. Do any of you think there are any sort of, because there's so much chat about AI now, it's like so hot. Are there any misconceptions about AI? Is there anything that you feel that we're all talking about, something that we shouldn't be talking about, that we should be talking about? Any misconceptions?
Where do we start? Right, so I speak to hundreds of customers every week, and still there is this massive fear of my data being exploited by the model in some way. Can I just tell everyone right here now, when you send your data to the model, it's like you're throwing a ball bearing at a beach ball. Your effect on the model is completely ephemeral. It doesn't change in any way, shape, or form. Your data is very precious, and sometimes it can be stored and logged. But actually, if you look at what all the major hyperscalers are doing now, and all the major kind of foundational model companies, they're all putting out these incredibly capable statements, legal indemnification about how secure the data is, how you can even opt out of responsible AI co-processing to ensure that your data is never used by anything other than you're sending it to. I think the biggest misconception we've got is that Gen AI is this super exotic technology. And much like when we moved to the cloud, and I remember someone turning around to me going, so my data is going to be on the same spinning disk in a data center that I can't see it with a possible competitor. And they couldn't get their head around the Chinese walls between these cloud providers are putting in place. And I think Gen AI is just in that place at the moment where there's a media furore about how bad it is, but very little saying this is a really cool technology.
I think there's maybe an underestimation of productivity versus growth. Very often one thinks it's only about productivity, time productivity. It is about that, and it's about growth. I come back to the example I gave of finding within a maze of consumer information dots to connect and fresh perspective on how you can serve people. Well, if you find that, it's an opportunity for solutions, for new product, therefore for growth. And if you find it quicker, because the technology helps you find it faster, that will also help you go to market faster than the competitive set. Speed is growth in consumer goods.
So I would say a few things. One is, first of all, AI didn't born yesterday or last year or year. I think we all have been working on this for many, many years. I think ChatGPT just made it a very household name, right?
Yes.
Transformative, this whole GPT piece being worked on, a lot of pieces. First of all, this is misconception. It's not yesterday, it's been there. The second thing is that there is this misconception or maybe desire that this is going to magically solve all the problem. If you do not have, I'm going to keep harping on it because I believe that people who are investing in data are going to win the war. If you don't have investment, understanding of the data, then no amount of AI generative AI is going to solve any problem for you. So that's become critical. Third is having understanding of what problem do you want to solve with AI, because there are solutions that are less expensive that can solve the problem you're looking for. So there's also this conception forming in the industry, oh, every problem can be solved through AI. Maybe, but do we have to?
Okay, so I want us to look ahead now. Since technology is about the future. How do you all see AI transforming industries in the next 5, 10, or 20 years? I mean, what predictions do you have?
I mean, biopharma, I can tell you, I mean, the traditional way of molecular discovery is going to change. It's going to be a lot more data-driven, a lot more machine learning AI, generative AI-based. And our speed is going to be exponentially ahead than what we've seen in the decades.
I think it will create also new business models. The expertise of a company, even internally, can be shared or licensed with others through using of a model. So what would this company say about this contract, for example? Then you could use our service. So there are new business models that were not possible before, but or different means to share expertise. I think in the short term, we will have these models. I was having a conversation with the CEO of an Austrian company and saying that we can shrink these models to make them smaller. So I think the next target maybe is to have a less footprint on the on the world, or make more green, models that are smaller and are still capable. And I think, of course, these will be, you might have companies using 3 or different models from different providers. But I think in the long term, we will have physical, embodiment of these models living amongst us maybe, or, asking them for help somewhere. And I hope then we will be ready.
David or Fabrice, do you want to add anything?
I'd just quickly say humans are fundamentally bad. And I'm very pro-human when it comes to this. I'm a tech optimist. But humans are fundamentally bad at looking past the next horizon. But I would say just don't get too bogged down in the today and looking at the possibility of job destruction. Look at what is going to come next, because I guarantee it's going to be really, really exciting.
The transformation is going to be enormous, and I hope and I think we will be able to spend more time on what matters thanks to the technology.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, all of you, for such amazing insight, different industries and different countries. Really appreciate all of you, and I hope the audience enjoyed the conversation as well. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Well done, Liz.